I'm Kelsey Zeiser. I'm a senior editor at Light Reading, and we're here at Mobile World Congress in lovely Barcelona, even though it's been a little rainy this week.
Yeah.
I'm joined by Mike Finley with Boingo. Good to see you, Mike.
It's great to see you as well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So we're here in the bustling Hall 3.
Right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, it feels just like 2019.
Perfect, I know. Back to the future. It's great.
So what's new with Boingo in terms of airport deployments? What do you have going on there?
There's so much going on. We've had a lot of activity at New York airports. You know, there's an incredible amount of rebuilding and new terminals coming in. And so we've been working very closely there. We've got a new Terminal A in Newark, $2.7 billion project, large number of gates. And what's interesting there, you know, with Boingo, we deploy converged neutral networks. But of course, we're deploying 5G, but we're also deploying Wi-Fi 6E, and as well as private networks. So we've always been inside the airports, creating great connectivity for the end users. But this new development allows us to do some other things, like for baggage handlers, of course, contactless concessions now that people want, a very high speed, secure capability network that's going to enhance the experience, not just for people wanting to download movies or files before or after a flight, but also for the entire ecosystem of the airport.
Yeah, I always appreciate the coverage at the airport because I'm always trying to upload an article or get something done right before my flight, and
Exactly.
it's always pretty seamless to log on, so
Yeah.
that's helpful.
That's great. Thank you.
What are some other new deployments that you're working on?
Well, there's one that's, it's super cool. It's been going on a long time. There's a new tunnel. It's called Grand Central Madison. It's a new tunnel that's gone from the East River to Grand Central Station, 15 stories below the ground.
Wow.
So they've been working on this for a long time, since '74, believe it or not. But we've been building this out over the last 3 or 4 years. It's now about to open. So it's just incredible new train station. There'll be connectivity all along the ride for New Yorkers and everybody that's coming through there. So that's one of the largest projects, infrastructure projects in the country. The city of New York, the MTA, everybody's really come together and made this work. We're super excited it's now coming to be. And the other piece is people are now going to have connectivity, and there's a lot of safety, security, a lot of things that we're enabling that's going to now be present there. It's really been a great project.
Yeah, and I'm sure New Yorkers will appreciate that since they spend a lot of time commuting to work.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and just within the city in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have anything new going on with, I know you all work closely with military bases as well. Anything new there?
There's a bunch going on new there. We're now on over 80 bases. So for a little refresher, we supply troops to connectivity to the troops in their barracks. So we have over 400,000 beds, as we call it. So troops are getting connectivity in their off time and things. So it's just a great project we love. We have a lot of military people that work at Boingo as well, so it's kind of a passion of ours as well. But we're building towers on the bases as well. We've been doing that for the last couple of years, and that team's now really growing that quite a bit. So these bases are massive. And there's a lot of movement that goes on bases, and troops may even move from one barrack to another on the same base. The benefit we give the troops is they can go anywhere on the base or another base and still connect to Boingo. So that's going on, and then there's a lot of private services that are happening. We did before the pandemic, but when COVID hit, there's a lot of classroom training, there's a lot of dining facilities. The military puts a lot of effort into quality of life. They want the troops to be happy, as well as doing all the great things they do for our country. So part of that is connectivity, the ability to game. So we're connecting that and building, the latest, greatest connectivity. Wi-Fi 6 and 6E will play a big part on that as well. And then 5G is playing a big part. We're working with the carriers, with the towers, and creating other capabilities there as well.
Yeah, that's really important for troops to be able to contact their family and keep in touch there as well. Anything else that you're looking forward to with private networks or 5G that Boingo is excited about for the future?
Yeah, there's been, on the private networking side, all of the locations we have, a lot of the airports, a lot of transportation hubs that we've been in for a long time, we're now able to create some more connectivity in maybe other parts. The airports are an easy example. Out on the tarmac, the baggage handlers, you want to have connectivity there, but the airports and the venues also want the information and the data that can come from that so they can keep improving their services. We did a really interesting project last year with the San Diego Padres at a place called Gallagher Square. It's outside the ballpark. and we created connectivity there on a private CBRS side, where it used to be they'd have people come on a Friday night for, all you can drink before the game or something, but they didn't have any way of kind of doing anything else. So when we put the private network in, all of a sudden they now could, sell apparel, they could sell, more drinks, Cokes and things like that, and tickets. So a lot of different things that now are enabled that they can have on their network. They know where people are. They know, where they could move it around. So it's been a really good showcase, I think, to highlight the monetization side of a private network versus just the connectivity side.
Yeah, fan engagement's so important, and I feel like that's gotten a lot of momentum recently in stadiums, and having the fans be able to download apps that they can interact with their favorite sports teams.
Yeah.
And, I always think it's really cool when they have the app that lights up your phone and they can do like a whole light show with everyone in the audience.
And to think that's become more capable, but now with very high speed, low latency, and secure networks, what you're going to see is, there's a kind of a sports gambling, a micro betting side that is a great engagement. My wife and I have 4 boys, and they all do fantasy NFL, and they watch the game a lot different, but fans are doing that. And the thing that's really great about what we do, everybody we work with in the venues, whether it's an airport, transportation hub, a stadium owner, a sports team, the military, every one of them start from the premise they want a great experience for their users. So it could be the troops, it could be the fans coming into the game, or it could be the hundreds of thousands or millions of people, that go on a train or go through the airports. And so we start with that at Boingo as well, that it's got to be a great connectivity experience. So at the end of the day, when you get off a train or an airplane, you don't really care what network you're on, you just want it to work.
Right, exactly.
And so the venue, that's the great thing that we do at the venues, is we bring all of that connectivity together under one company, one source. So it doesn't, we want it to work all the time. Sometimes there's still, but if it doesn't, they know who to call.
Right.
And but at the end of the day, it's a great user experience, and that's what everybody wants.
Yeah. Anything else that you're looking forward to this week at MWC specifically? We touched on private networks. There's even been some talk about 6G already. Which I'm like,
yeah, probably a little early for 6G. We should probably really make 5G great. I'll tell you, one of the things I've heard, there's a lot of talk about, 5G, and is it really, what's happening with it and stuff. And I would just tell you that from our perspective, it's really incredible what it's brought. And I'm not sure that, there's like a whiz-bang one app that solidifies it as things. But, over time, when people's like, what's the killer app or what's these things? It's really a lot of it coming together. We're able to do higher speed things. We highlighted earlier, you can download a file or a movie. Mm-hmm. Could you do that before? Yes, but you can do it faster now. And maybe it's not, the difference that people would want to see, but there's more coming. 5G's only been out 4.5 years. There's 13-year cycles of the Gs. Wi-Fi 6, 6E, 7's coming, and we feel that's a big part of the 5G universe for speed and security. So I've really been having a good time engaging with a lot of people. It's fun to see a lot of people, as you can see in the background. But we're, a lot of discussions now going back on in person. And talk about what we can do. And I think there's so much more to come. But, look, autonomous cleaning in ththese big venues. I mean, COVID brought a lot of stuff that...
Can I borrow that from my house, do you think?
Yeah, I think we'd all like it, yeah. But there are little things that COVID kind of brought forward that we all talked about: telehealth, contactless concessions, autonomous cleaning, wireless, autonomous manufacturing floors. So 5G is really bringing all that to happen. I think the poster child of 5G, I think, sometimes tends to be autonomous driving, and that's happening, but that's going to happen. It's just going to take a while.
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Mike. It was a pleasure catching up with you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.